Hi there. In this quick screencast, we're going to learn how to get a Google map on a web app detail view. And what do I mean by that? If I click on this here, I'll just show you real quickly. Here's our list view. And we get down to our web app item detail view. Here is that particular item on a Google map on the detail view. Now this is actually not as easy as you would think to pull off in Business Catalyst. But with some creative use of a nested module tag, we can pull this off. And here it is here in action. And so how am I doing this? Basically, in Business Catalyst, you can output an individual web app item into a Google map. And I'm just doing that on detail view. But generally, you have to pass along the ID for that particular item to be able to do that. And so what I'm doing is I'm passing that ID in a query string parameter here from the list view. We see that here. When I click on this, it's actually, when we get down to the detail view, appending this to the URL. And so then using the module underscore URL tag within Business Catalyst, we nest that inside of the web app Google Map tag, and that's how we pull that off. So let's look at it in the back end here. I'm just going to go to web apps and this little web app I've created, and I'm going to look at the fields here in this web app, and you're going to find that there's nothing out of the ordinary here. It doesn't require anything crazy. All I'm doing is I've ensured that I've allowed proximity search. That will enable the address fields for each web app item. So I'm going to look at the web app item that I have set up in there, and I'm just going to scroll down to the item address. You're going to see I just have some crazy address put in there for testing. The magic is happening on the list view and detail views layouts. So let's look at those. So if I go to layout and list view, we'll see that here. We'll go to the HTML tab here, and basically what I'm doing here is this tag is just going to output the actual raw URL. It's not going to wrap it in an anchor tag. So item URL underscore no link, and then here I'm adding the query string parameter of tag underscore item ID. That's the actual ID for this item. The reason why I have to pass this is because this for one reason or another, I'm not sure what it is not available to us on detail view currently. Hopefully Business Catalyst will add this in the future, because that would be real handy for doing a lot of different things. But for now, we're going to pass it. And then basically, we're just outputting the name here. So you'll see that on this view here. So here's the name. So, and then on detail view, this tag looks crazy long, but really it's nothing crazy here. We're outputting web app items on a map. That's what this tag module does. And what web app are we pulling those from? Here's the ID for this particular web app. And then here's where we're nesting our module underscore URL item ID tag. And then we're just defining the width and height of the actual Google map itself. So if I break this down into 3 steps here, here's what a normal tag looks like when you're outputting things to a map. So here's the ID of the web app, and here's the actual individual item, the web app item ID. So this is the value that I needed to pass from the list view to the detail view. And that's what I'm doing with query string parameters. And that's what it looks like here as a nested tag. This would just output like a 300 by 300 square Google map and would work, but I wanted specific sizing to mine, so I've taken it a step further and added these flags here, which are actually defining size. And so this is the final tag that's in the detail view, and so that's what we see here. So you can actually drill down to a detail view and have a map for this particular, or have this item show up on a map for detail view fairly easily.